He's a star cricketer for both Durham and England, but tonight Ben Stokes will not be playing an international game until further notice after video emerged of him allegedly fighting outside a nightclub. The BBC hasn't been able to verify the footage published by The Sun. Stokes was arrested in Bristol earlier this week on suspicion of causing actual bodily harm and released without charge, but a police investigation is ongoing. Our correspondent Mark Denton is outside Durham's ground in Chesterley Street tonight. Mark.
Well, Carol, Ben Stokes is a star of the England cricket team. Some fans would say the star of the England cricket team. The all-rounder has won record after record after record, but as you said, this afternoon the English Cricket Board issued a statement saying that he would not be considered for international selection until further notice. Another player, Alex Hales, in the same situation as well. This after footage was published by The Sun newspaper, and I should warn you, it does contain scenes of some violence. In it, Ben Stokes is shown allegedly as part of a brawl that took place in the early hours of Monday in part of Bristol. Now, the BBC has not been able to independently verify these pictures. Ben Stokes was arrested on Monday by Avon and Somerset police on suspicion of actual bodily harm, but he was released without charge, and the police, though, are still investigating. Now, Ben Stokes, although he plays for a North East cricket team here, he actually learnt his cricketing craft in Cumbria, brought up in Cockermouth. He played for the local cricket team in Cockermouth, and indeed only last month he was back at that club at a very, very popular event. He hasn't faced the media today, but he's described as devastated and in a fragile state.
So, Mark, has there been any further reaction to the release of that video?
Well, funnily enough, Durham County Cricket Club, Ben Stokes' teammates here have been in action today in their last match of the county championship season down in Worcester, a couple of 100 miles away. They're forwarding all calls about Ben Stokes to the England Cricket Board today. But the big question that a lot of cricket fans will be asking is how long will he not be considered for the England team with the Ashes coming up in November? There is a one-day international. England are playing in Southampton tomorrow. He definitely won't be playing for that. But what about the big one, the Ashes in November? Well, we've been speaking to Stephen Brenkley. He is the former cricket correspondent of The Independent. But first, we've been asking cricket fans in Durham, should Ben Stokes play in the Ashes?
Has he been proven guilty? He's not, has he? So he should be in it.
And England need him?
Absolutely, they need him.
England are disgraced if they let him in the team.
He's a very vital player, but you still think he shouldn't be let in?
No, I don't.
Can England do without him?
Well, it might have to do without him, but he's the best player as far as I'm concerned.
It's terribly difficult for players, but they do know. And Stokes has told me in an interview I did with him a couple of years ago now, just before another tour, just before he became as big as he now is, but was still clearly a real star in the making. And he himself told me how he had to be more responsible. He'd had a couple of run-ins with the England hierarchy after a couple of drink-fueled escapades on tour, no more than boys' nights out. But he told me then that he understood that he had to behave himself. What would I have done? I think there is an element in which you have to be seen to be a role model because you are put in a privileged place. All of us want to play cricket for England, but along with that comes some sense of responsibility. If England go to the Ashes without Stokes, they've probably got less of a prayer than they did have anyway. And looking at the squad they've picked, which is almost a lucky dip sort of squad, he was absolutely central to any hopes they've got of retaining the Ashes, and I would have thought that without him, the balance of the team looks terrible.
OK, Mark, what happens now?
Well, would you believe in exactly a month the England cricket team depart for the Ashes in Australia? No one knows where Ben Stokes will be on the plane. At the moment, Carol, the star of the England cricket team, is not in the England cricket team. Back to you.
OK, thank you. A housing company is investigating why decorative panels were placed on a series of Newcastle tower blocks in breach of a manufacturer's advice. The panels were put on 5 blocks run by Your Homes even though the firm that made them said they weren't suitable for high-rises. Your Homes says it's in talks with the contractor who installed them, and in the meantime, is taking them off. Peter Harris reports.
On abseils, the workers are stripping off the panels.
How difficult a job is it?
There are easier jobs out there. The cladding's coming off okay, but it's just quite a lot of it, isn't there?
Built in the 60s, for years the concrete here was exposed. Then, months before the Grenfell disaster, it was covered with cosmetic panels by a contractor called Waite's Living Space. Now it turns out the manufacturer had said they shouldn't be used on buildings above 18 metres in height.
Because the reassuring messages that we're being able to give residents, we haven't been receiving many calls of concern from them, and they're being kept well abreast of what activities were undertaken.
It's nonetheless ridiculous, isn't it, that despite what the manufacturer said, the contractor has put this decorative material on in breach of what was expected.
And that's exactly what we're asking Waits to answer to. But in the meantime, whilst that's being discussed and whatnot, our priority is to take it off to be absolutely safe.
In a statement, the contractor Waits said, "We want to understand why the decorative panels were specified for this use, and we're currently seeking clarification from the designer. In the meantime, we're working closely with Your Homes Newcastle to ensure the panels are removed quickly." Now, Your Home says it's also checked the grey cladding at the foot of the buildings. That was found to be safe. It's not the same material that was used in Grenfell. And the insulated render along the side of the buildings, that's also been declared as safe. Some reassurance then for those who live here.
Well, it's a good safety measure. Obviously, as a reaction to Grenfell, I think. But yeah, I feel safer. But I did feel safe anyway.
Talks are ongoing, meanwhile, as to how unsuitable material was put on the blocks in the first place. Peter Harris, BBC Look North.
Rush hour traffic on a Tyneside commuter route was brought to a halt today after a police pursuit of a car ended with 6 vehicles being damaged. Eyewitnesses report a VW Touran, which was being followed by police in Newburn, cannoning off parked cars on Newburn Road, leaving a trail of debris before coming to a halt. The occupants apparently left the scene. Police say 4 people arrested yesterday in ongoing protests at North Yorkshire's fracking site have been charged with willfully obstructing the highway. A total of 24 people have been arrested at the Kirkby-Misperton site so far since protests began last week. The company, Third Energy, expects to receive final permission to start fracking before the end of the year and is trying to move equipment onto the site. The towns and cities which will host the starts and finishes of next year's Tour de Yorkshire cycle race have been revealed. As well as places further south, Richmond and Scarborough have also been picked. Richmond for the first time. Last year, the race brought in more than £60 million for the local economy. And this year, it'll be even longer, with 4 days instead of 3. Phil Chapman reports from Richmond.
Next year we'll see a new expanded Tour de Yorkshire, with the men's race being held over 4 days and the women's over 2. So it's an even bigger coup for Richmond to have been picked as just one of 2 North Yorkshire start-finish towns.
It's going to be fantastic. Whether it's raining or not, it'll be brilliant, and it'll satisfy a lot of people who were very upset that we didn't get the Tour de France, so they'll be over the moon. And I think it's going to be great for the town, great for business, and we've just got to work hard to make sure that the people that come to watch that then come back and spend a lot of money with us afterwards.
Well, I should think it'll do tourism the world of good.
It's fantastic news for the town, economy and for all the shops. Because last year we missed out and the town was dead.
As long as all the financial support's there for the town and for everyone else around here, I think that's a brilliant idea, because I mean, I've been cycling in the Dales the last few days and it's just glorious. You can't get better than it.
Wonderful news. Very pleased. Years of campaigning has come to fruition.
We're 5 minutes from the Dales, you know. We see a lot of, hard men around here, if you like. They're going to just love this. It's going to be fantastic.
The whole district experienced the Tour de France when it passed through in 2014.
We did very well as a Richmondshire District Council when we had the Tour de France. We very much value our communities, but the most important thing is you can't get any better people than people in Richmondshire. They will welcome this tour, and they will also do everything they can to help us to make it a success.
And full details of the 2018 route will be announced on December the 5th. Phil Chapman, BBC Look North, Richmond.
Now, around 200 children from a primary school in Newcastle are being given the chance to learn to play orchestral instruments as part of a project to inspire youngsters from deprived areas. Members of the Royal Northern Sinfonia performed for pupils at Bridgewater Primary School in the city's West End. Using the instruments, they're being given the chance to learn over the next few years. The In Harmony Newcastle Gateshead project has been running at another primary school and has seen youngsters go on to take exams and play at prestigious venues. Alison Freeman's been to find out more.
You see a collection of young faces. They're new to this, they're an open book, and they're immediately receptive. You come in feeling tired, but they're always bolt wide awake. How do we become so good? I have to say it's a combination of practice and love for what we do. But if you love it and you practice it, that's when you succeed.
It's the chance of a lifetime. Not only seeing world-class musicians playing in their school hall, but also being given the opportunity to learn to play the very same instruments over the next few years.
We can show them, not necessarily how to become professional musicians, but we can show them how to achieve more by being more than the sum of their parts. Whereas individuals, sometimes children can stray, they can get influence, but working together as a team, the good will always win over.
Bridgewater Primary School's been chosen to be part of the In Harmony project, which has seen pupils at Hawthorne Primary in Elsick go on to pass exams and play at the Sage since the project started there in 2012. But today, the quartet from the Royal Northern Sinfonia treated Bridgewater School to Mozart, Handel and Puccini.
Puccini, who wrote this piece, composed the whole thing, wrote it all by hand in one evening. That's equivalent to one evening's homework, I guess.
How did it make you feel when you were listening to it?
Fantastic and happy and fabulous. Music was beautiful and it made me smile.
It wouldn't be something that we would have been able to afford out of our school budget. So we're really, really fortunate to have been chosen to be part of it. Their concentration levels, I'm hoping will improve. Their cooperation, hoping all those skills that they're going to learn will be transferred to the wider curriculum.
The music making starts at the school in November. Alison Freeman, BBC Look North.
He's explored the origins of the Earth and travelled the world on TV in search of fresh scientific discovery. And today, Professor Brian Cox, the smiling face of physics, came to Cumbria to pass on his enthusiasm to secondary school kids. He was the star show of the Infinity Festival at the West Lakes Academy. Mark McAlinden reports.
He's the rock star physicist, switching a generation on to the excitement of science.
Now, the laws of physics are simple and they're universal. What applies here applies everywhere else up there.
Today's appearance at Egremont proved he's lost none of his popularity, nor the power to inspire.
It could just be 10 minutes interaction with someone like me or the other university lecturers that are here. It then goes into their mind that, well, actually, you know what, I could do that. And it's something, just an afternoon like this can be the trigger that gives them the confidence to go and do it. They have the ability and the enthusiasm already.
The Infinity Festival is the first event of its kind in Cumbria, but there's evidence elsewhere that it makes a real difference.
It's led to a dramatic increase in those who are achieving much better exam results, going on into STEM careers and off to top level universities to study science and engineering. So yes, we know it works, but we've just put a Cumbrian flavour on it and we're going to run it here.
In one demonstration, robots made a 3D map of the classroom where the students sat, while others were asked to imagine making difficult scientific decisions. So what did they make of it?
All the interesting stuff that people have been able to get out of it and how much they enjoy it. Like, I could enjoy it just as much as they do.
It's definitely made me think
and I'm probably considering it, but there's other stuff that I'd like to do as well.
Good to see all different career options and prospects for around the local area for jobs.
Thumbs up too from teachers keen to lift kids' expectations.
You can go to university and do anything in science. It doesn't have to be just the big three of physics, biology, chemistry. It can be any part of those three, little bits of, or using that in some way, shape or form.
Perhaps one might become the next Brian Cox.
And that's why I love physics.
Mark McAlinden, BBC Look North, Egremont.
Stunning shots there. Now, they're called the Clown Doctors, and for over a decade they've helped thousands of seriously ill children in Newcastle's hospitals. And now it's Sunderland's turn. For the next year, little patients at the city's Royal Hospital will be getting their own dose of happy medicine from Dr Tammy Teacozy and her team. Joanne Carter's been to meet them.
Fun, laughter and smiles, the perfect distraction for tiny patients like 3-year-old Molly.
It's lovely. She's been really poorly, so having something to cheer up has been really nice. She had breathing problems on Tuesday, so she was transferred to her last night, and she's definitely picked up a lot.
The Clown Doctors help make hospital less scary for children.
It's really positive news. The Clown Doctors bring happiness and giggles. It certainly lightens the mood, and it's just such a positive experience for them.
For the next year, there'll be regular visitors to the Sunderland Royal Hospital.
We came to the Sunderland hospitals when we first did the pilot for the Clown Doctoring, but obviously the programme had to go away because of lack of funding. So just to come back's really lovely, and lovely to be back on the ward and see the children and the staff and everything.
Yeah, it's just lovely to be back, and we've had a lovely response so far. We've had absolute giggles today,
Yeah.
and it's just a real privilege and a real joy to be back.
Yeah, but the staff as well, have been really, because a lot of the staff remember us from the first time round, so coming back they've kind of been really welcoming and really just lovely to see your presence again with all the families.
The Children's Foundation is funding the project. It'll cost nearly £19,000 and worth every penny if they can make a sick child smile again. Joanne Carter, BBC Look North, Sunderland.
Oh, little Molly, a picture there.
Yes.
I bet they're a hard act for the real doctors to follow, though, aren't they?
I bet, yes.
Pressure.
Absolutely, yes.
Sport chef.
Yes, got some good news as well. First of all, about Mish McNeil, who you remember came in to see
I
us
do, yeah.
not so long ago, a few days ago. Well, first of all, Mish's crowdfunding page reached its £30,000 target days after British bobsleigh's decision to withdraw funding threatening her place at next year's Winter Olympics. Well, today it emerged the earlier than originally planned departure of the sport's chief executive, Richard Parker, will help free up funds, so it'll now be possible to partially support a women's team at the Games in South Korea. Good news indeed. Now, some of the world's best golfers have been in action on the first day of the British Masters at Close House near Headon-on-the-Wall in Northumberland. It's the first time a European event has been held in this part of the world for more than a decade. And on the course for us is Dawn. Dawn.
Yes, thank you, Jeff. Well, the sun is setting here now, but it's been a day of sunshine and blue skies, virtually unbroken all day. Perfect weather for the opening day of the British Masters, held here at Close House for the very first time, of course. Now, we do remember those European tours up at Slaley Hall in Northumberland, but that was back in the early 2000s. It's been an awfully long time since an event of this calibre has been held in this part of the world. So fingers crossed, and it's been a great success already today. Well, of course, the man who was responsible for bringing it here was the tour professional Lee Westwood, the former world #1, and he's had, well, a pretty good day today, I would say. He's finished the day 4 under par. Mind you, he did help design the course, so I suppose he should have a bit of an advantage there. And Teesside's Graham Storm, well, he continues his resurgence after almost losing his European Tour card last year, winning in South Africa, and he's ended the day on 6 under. That's just 1 shot off the lead. And as far as fans' favourite Rory McIlroy's concerned, well, he's had a pretty solid day as well, ending the day on 3 under, although Sergio Garcia, another fans' favourite, has had to settle for an even par score. Well, of course, it was all down to this man that it happened in the first place. Graham Wiley, owner of Close House, also joined by Rory Colville, who's the event director. Graham, first of all, dream come true this for you, isn't it?
Well, it does sound like that, doesn't it? Having 18,000 people walking through your back garden and watching the world's greatest golfers like Westwood and Garcia and Rory and Ian Poulter. But, it became a reality about 2 years ago when Lee was asked to be the host. And because he's the tour professional here, he recommended Close House, and thank goodness he did, because we had a fantastic day.
Well, Rory, organising an event like this is no mean feat, but bringing it to a new venue has some risks involved. How's it been for you?
Look, it's been fantastic. We're bowled over by the response today. We've heard a lot about the appetite for sport in the region, but to get a crowd of over 18,000 here today is fantastic news. We're really pleased. It's been a really, really good first day.
Do you think it could come back again sometime soon?
We'd love to think so. It would be sad not to. I think let's see how the next few days go, but we'd very much like to come back, yeah.
And Graham, very briefly, what sort of effects it's going to have for the region economically?
Well, I think some of the pictures on television have been fantastic. So, we all know that this region is wonderful to look at. There's some great views of the Tyne Valley in Newcastle, and lots of people here from all over the country. So hopefully that'll bring people back to the region to hopefully play golf at Close House, and but also spend money in Newcastle itself.
Let's hope so. Well, Jeff, a few showers forecast tomorrow, but hopefully that won't interfere with play too much.
Indeed, Dawn, thank you very much. Now the new basketball season tips off tomorrow night with Newcastle Eagles away at Leeds Force. It's been summer of change for the Tynesiders, with some old favourites leaving and plenty of new faces promising to make an impact. But the main man is still there.
Yes, he's into his 40s, and yes, he'll quit sometime. But don't even bother asking Fab Flournoy when he's going to retire. This pre-season, though, the Eagles' long-serving player coach has been facing a few different questions.
How are we going to win, and who we're going to play, and how many pieces of silverware we're going to win, are we going to be good, and that type of thing. So that's what it has been in the past. But this particular season, it's an expectation of who's this and who's that, and how they're going to be playing and where they're going to be playing, and how is it all going to work.
Sometimes it's kind of good when you bring in a new team that doesn't really know the history that well, because then they just go out there and play. They don't really realize what rivals are and all those type of things, which sometimes is that can kind of get to players. So we got a fresh new team. They're just here to play and kind of begin their careers and just kind of see how far they can go.
There are 7 new faces in all, 6 of them playing in the BBL for the first time, including the 6 feet 8 inch Croatian forward Jure Gunjina.
Since I've been everywhere, I've been all around the world, people have been telling me that basketball is growing here, is getting better, so that's one of the things that I wanted to come here to, because I can see that people really like it, especially in this city,
Winning just one of the 4 trophies on offer last season was considered by some to be a disappointment. Our football teams should be so lucky. But the coach knows the club has set extremely high standards.
I don't care how exciting this team is, I don't care how good this team is, if you don't win silverware, at the end of the day, that's what you're going to be judged on.
Now in cricket, Durham's traumatic season ended with defeat at Worcester, which saw the home side promoted as Division 2 champions. Chasing an unlikely 370 to win, Durham were bowled out for 232. They finished the season second bottom, and without that 48-point penalty from the ECB, they would have finished 7th out of 10. We'd be glad to see the back of it.
OK, now, Dawn mentioned earlier from Close House, a few showers expected tomorrow, but let's get it from the expert. Not decrying Dawn, of course. Paul?
She did a great job. Beautiful day today across the northeast and Cumbria. Let's celebrate that in tonight's weather picture. It's Dave's shot looking out across a sunny Swaledale this afternoon. Now, as we head through the next few days, a bit of a change in store. Things turning more unsettled. There'll still be some sunshine around, but generally speaking, it'll turn wetter and windier later in the weekend. Now, it's a fine, dry evening tonight with temperatures up to 20 Celsius this afternoon. As we head through the night, though, the cloud starts to thicken up again from the west. That thicker cloud eventually brings outbreaks of rain to many places by the end of the night. The temperatures will stay in double figures again. The overnight low around about 11 or 12 Celsius. And the south to southeasterly winds pick up ahead of that rain as well. So it's a cloudy, wet start for many tomorrow morning. The more persistent rain will clear away eastwards as we head towards lunchtime and into the early part of the afternoon. Then much brighter again for the afternoon. Good sunny spells for most. A scattering of showers coming in on the southwesterly breeze, which will be quite brisk. More especially over the North Pennines, those showers. Many eastern areas staying fine, dry and sunny through the afternoon. Bit fresher with the breeze and the temperatures a shade lower at 17 Celsius at best. You'll notice that a bit fresher tomorrow. So as we head towards the weekend, Friday sees a bit of a gap in between weather systems, and then Saturday eventually sees this big low pressure area coming in from the west. Now that could contain remnants of ex-Hurricane Maria, so it will bring pretty wet and pretty windy weather. In fact, there's a Met Office Be Aware warning out for Cumbria through Sunday and Monday for the risk of that heavy rain. But as we head through Saturday, most places will be dry and bright. A scattering of showers, but the southwesterly breeze fairly light and temperatures will make it into the mid-teens. All starts to change overnight on Saturday night, and that leaves us a much cloudier picture for Sunday. Outbreaks of rain for many. Some of that rain heavy at times. The southwesterly winds picking up through the course of the day as well. So what can the golfers expect then at Close House? Well, tomorrow the early rain clears to leave just the risk of the odd shower for the afternoon. Mostly fine and dry on Saturday, but the rain could be an issue, I think, on Sunday, as could that gusty southwesterly wind. As ever, stay tuned for the latest updates. Carol.
All right, thank you, Paul. That's it from us tonight. We'll be back with the late news for you at 10:30. In the meantime, have a great evening. Enjoy what I think is still sunny. Yes, enjoy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.